Today we're going to talk about the troubleshooting and cleaning and maintenance of the Solariver 360 plus gallon per hour solar water pump kit. There's two main components to this kit. There's a 20 watt 12 volt solar panel and a 360 gallon per hour DC submersible water pump. For troubleshooting, things we want to look at on the solar panel if we're having trouble with our pump not running is there's a junction box on the back of the panel. We can open that by pushing down and sliding it. This keeps the connections dry. What we want to confirm here is that they're nice and tight. These screws are tight. Make sure there's nothing growing in here or spider webs or anything, or any damage to these contacts that might prevent the power from flowing from the panel to the pump. When we close that up, we want to make sure that it's nice and tight. This is what keeps water and rain out of the junction box to keep the panel running for many years. Our next thing we're going to be looking at is the connection from the pump to the panel. This is one thing that is a very common challenge for new users. The connection itself has a flat spot on the pump side and a flat spot on the panel side. What we want to do is make sure that those flat sides line up to make sure that the positive and negative connect. If the positive and negative are switched, the pump will not run. So that can be a real quick indicator, especially with a brand new pump. Next step would be to close the waterproof connector. Make sure that's nice and tight to keep the rain and water out. Now we're going to look at how to inspect, clean, and maintain the pump itself. Some features to point out. On the front of the pump here, there's a variable flow control. This adjusts how much water flow comes out of the output here. If you're not getting any water flow, make sure that this is in a position up at max as opposed to down at minimum. If it's on minimum, there will be no water flow at all. So first thing to check is where your setting is there. The next thing to look at, there are two silver dots on the back of the pump here. These are the dry run sensors. Both of these have to be below the water level in order for the pump to run. If the water level drops below that top sensor, the pump will stop. That mechanism is in place so that the pump doesn't run when there's not enough water, and that helps extend its longevity and keeps the pump from burning out. We want to make sure there's no algae or anything in the way of those sensors. Next step will be to remove the filter cover. We do that by holding onto the pump body, holding onto the filter cover, and then sliding the cover off. Once we have that off, within the cover there is a washable foam filter mesh. This can be cleaned with soap and water. We want to make sure there's no sticks or debris or mud in this filter. Set that off to the side. We want to make sure that there's no debris or anything impeding water flow through the filter cover on here, so make sure that's all clean. Next step is to remove the variable flow control and then to inspect to see if there's any rocks or anything that have gotten in here that might keep the impeller from turning. What we'll do next is we're going to open up the pump. You hold that in one hand and then rotate this front about a quarter turn. It'll pop off nice and easily. We want to check to make sure there's nothing stuck in here. We want to look in the output, make sure there's no rocks or anything that got jammed in there. Looking at here, we want to remove the impeller assembly. It simply pulls out. It is a magnet, so you got to give it a little bit of a pull. But we want to make sure there's nothing on the impeller or anything that might keep it from spinning. There is a ceramic shaft in here. We want to be very careful not to break that shaft. Within the pump body itself, we want to check to make sure that this is clean and smooth, no debris, no rocks or anything in there. Make sure this is clean, and then we can replace the impeller, drop that right in there. Let's check it to make sure that it's turning. It should catch about every quarter turn or so. This is due to the magnet. And next step there is this black cap. It goes into the cover there. Then we're going to replace the variable flow. There's a little arrow on there. So if we're setting that back on, we want to make sure that it's pointing to the max. We want to make sure that's working correctly. So when we turn that, we can see through. That's going to be the maximum water flow. As we turn this, it blocks off the water flow. So let's leave it on max for now. Now we are going to replace the filter mesh into the cover. We want to put that in nice and even. Then we want to note there's tracks on the filter cover as well as on the pump itself. So we match those up, slide that in. Once we get it on the tracks, the foam filter may get caught, so we can use our finger to make sure it's getting past the sides of the pump. And then on the front, put your finger in there to hold it down so that the variable flow can pop right through. Now we're reassembled, and that is it.